Yes, people, welcome along to a view from the stands. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all well. Today, I'm bringing you another live transfer rumour and update on all things Aston Villa. And this roller coaster just keeps going and going. 1 minute you think a deal's happening, the next, some more news comes. And this is absolutely crazy because we've had more breaking news now, which Fabrizio Romano, a tier one journalist, has come out and said that basically no more Weston Mckennie. But actually, we're going to go for someone else. And we're going for Enzo Barrenchea, an Argentinian youngster who looks to be part of this swap deal. Furthermore, big news has emerged that Ian Maatsen deal has agreed, and now personal terms are being discussed as we speak to get that one over the line. It also means that Weston Mckennie is a no-goer. And of course, lately, another report has come out. Aston Villa have had discussions with winger Lewis Dobbin from Everton. So being a Villa fan right now is absolutely crazy, absolutely nuts, and something that I can't quite get my head around because this transfer merry-go-round has just kept going and going. If you are somebody who's watching and in the stream right now, then smash a like, get in the comments, and of course subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching this on replay, do get in the comments of the video as well, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. Shout out to everyone who's in the stream right now: Rachel, to VJ, to Fraser. And by the way, I've got a special mention to Fraser, who's been a member of the channel for 34 months. Massive, massive congratulations. That's absolutely insane. And thank you for all your support. Big up to Peter Collins, to Duper, to Kevin, and to anyone else who's watching. Do let me know if you're in here. Julia's in the house. Big up Lee Robbins as well. Let Emery cook. Well, he is. And yeah, let's get into this. I want to share this first article with you right now on the screen. And I want to know your thoughts on this one. Make sure I get the right one. I've got a few today. I've got a few to show you. Okay, let's start with this one then. Fabrizio Romano has said the following: Aston Villa are currently working on both Douglas Luiz swap deal and Ian Maatsen personal terms. Villa are busy, basically. Villa are cooking early and we're busy. Douglas strongly wants Juventus talks advance with Barrenchea and Illing Jr. plus over 20 million to Villa. And Ian Maatsen is discussing the personal terms. So let's break this down really simply. Let's start with the Juventus situation. Douglas Luiz to Juve is happening, okay? It's now just which players and for what. And we were convinced at one stage it was going to be Weston Mckennie, Samuel Illing Jr. plus cash. Now it's changed to Enzo Barrenchea, who's coming in, and Illing Jr. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a lowdown on who Enzo Barrenchea is now. So be ready for this one. Plus 20 minutes. So straight away, chat, before we go on to Ian Maatsen and that situation, how do you feel about that? The Weston Mckennie deal is off. Weston Mckennie deal is off and Enzo Barrenchea is coming up. First of all, be honest. Have you heard of Enzo Barrenchea? I'm going to be really true and honest. I haven't. Samuel Illing Jr.'s name I had heard a little bit. Weston Mckennie, of course, was a household name because of his presence in Leeds United and, of course, a United States international. But this guy, no. Who's heard of him? Worried that we're now going to sell JJ? Yeah, I will come to that one. He's the one I've got in my head as well, Rachel. He is the one in my head as well. But you know what I'm on about, and I'll come to that in a minute. Rachel's already ahead of the game, and I love that because I know exactly that. But look. Here comes Enzo Barrenchea. This is who Enzo Barrenchea is. Enzo Alan Tomas Barrenchea. Okay, he's 23 years old. Born in Argentina. Straight away there, chat. Argentinian links. We have Emi Buendia. We have Emi Martinez. We could get another Argentinian contingent in there. Look at his positions. Main position, defensive midfield. Other position, centre mid. Now, if he is a natural DM or in the pivot, give me Enzo Barrenchea, is which I'm basically saying. I want a holding mid. I want someone in the pivot. Now, he obviously did a season, as you can see here, and I'll show you if it will let me scroll down, at Frosinone Calcio. And if you can look here, chat, he's obviously been at Juve, and his market value from playing regular first-team football when he went on loan has increased and increased. When Juve basically had him, he's down at the 300k value, 900k. And his value by having one season at Florencio Calcio on loan has absolutely accelerated his market price. He is now worth 7.5 million. And I think that's a really telling sign. So big up to everyone in the chat, by the way. Thank you for watching. If you are watching a replay as well, big up to you all. Make sure you're smashing the like button for me. But I want to know your thoughts on this. How we might have found a little gem here. Because when I look at market value and a rising player, it impresses me to see someone of such good quality and value go up and up and up and up. So, DM, position we need. Is it better than Douglas Luiz right now? No. But again, at 23 years old, I'm having him. I'm absolutely having him. So let's have a bit of that. Now, if you want to have a look more at his minutes, because not only did he go on loan, but the minutes were brilliant for the season. Okay, he had 36 appearances, of which he played 84% in the starting 11. He basically played 82% of minutes. This is a really good telling sign of a youngster. I'm not worried about goals or assists because of his position being a holding midfielder. So what we're looking at here, chat, is really simply a 23-year-old who plays week in, week out. We play who has a good holding midfield credentials. His market value has increased upon end. And now we're looking at someone who's going to be fit. I like this. Weston Mckennie for me wasn't a guarantee. So I'm all for young Endo, absolutely. Let me know if you are. Like Robert, a.k.a. Crimmer said, big up to you. Big up to Stephen Perry, who said Weston Mckennie has a terrible attitude. Apparently fell out with a couple of Juve players. That's why they offered him. Listen, I'm questioning Weston Mckennie because Weston Mckennie basically can't get his exit deal out. His negotiations with Juve have literally failed. That's the reason why we've now moved on for him. So, yeah, interesting one there. Big up, by the way, Super Chat's just come in from Duper, John Don Duper. We are massive. And this transfer window is showing it. Name a club who's as active and as busy as we are right now at this time period. It shows we mean business. It really does show that we mean business. And I'm really happy about that, chat. So that's my little breakdown on Enzo Barrenchea. That, for me, it seems very apparent that Aston Villa are going to get that deal now. Douglas Luiz, by the way, I don't know what that bro's been cooking, but he really wants to go to Juve. And that is interesting. And he strongly wants that. So that's the big one. Now, let's go to this report earlier. And I'm going to use Villa Report to give him a bit of credit for this one as well. But yeah, we're probably going to go in for another central midfielder. I like some of the shouts I'm seeing in the chat. I've seen Pedro Concalves, Bayana for Rachel. And it shows we need business more, like, got to get some sales done, which is also true. Onana deal is not happening. John Moores has just asked, is Onana deal dead? It's dead. It was never a deal for me. It's a player that we won't ever sign. It's a bit of a fake story, in my opinion. He doesn't fit the Unai Emery mold. If you think about what Unai Emery loves, technical players who are very good on the ball, who are very good physically, and of course for me as well, I think it's that tactical awareness. Onana doesn't fit that. Onana doesn't fit that. So yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, Onana deal definitely dead and buried. So let me come to this then, and this story is emerging early. So we've just talked on the fact that Douglas Luiz 100% wants the Juve deal. He's pushing. Weston Mckennie not coming to Aston Villa now. Deal is off, but we're going to get a talented 23-year-old holding midfielder in Enzo Barrenchea, as well as Samuel Illing Jr. So let's go to this one. And I'm scared because Rachel's come in and said something earlier, and I want to flag it up now. Right, let's make sure I get the right tweet. I've got so many tweets opened. Okay. This one. Chat, be worried. Okay, so the Ian Maatsen deal is not as simple or as easy as it looks. And you're going, what are you on about, Josh? Ian Maatsen's coming to us, 100%. But we've got to lose a player in return. We have to lose a player in return. And everyone keeps thinking it's John Duran, but I think Duran's the smokescreen. So the fee for Ian Maatsen is for 37.5 million. That's the total fee. One player has to be included in discussions to join Chelsea from Villa, and that will be in a separated deal. I think it isn't John Duran. Now, I want to know what you guys think in the comments, whether you're live or on replay. I think John Duran's a smokescreen. Now, if we're signing Ian Maatsen, who's a left back, How in the world can Aston Villa operate with Luca Dean and Moreno? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. I want to know what you think. How can we have 3 left backs now at the club? One of them's got to leave. Now, are we looking to cash in on Luca Dean to Saudi Arabia? Because that was a rumour that happened quite a while ago. Or are we actually looking at elsewhere? Are we going to be almost thinking actually Moreno's the one who doesn't fit the bill? We will not be able to sustain Maatsen, Luca Dean and Moreno. And just to confirm this even more now with the Maatsen situation, here it is here. And big up to everyone who's tuning in on this late night Villa news. We're going to be trying to do Aston Villa late night transfer news every day because do you know what? There's so much to talk about. We're going to hit this 10 p.m. slot. So big up to everyone. Make sure you've got a notification bell on for that. Netherlands will allow Ian Maatsen to speak with Aston Villa remotely on video call. And that's from Matt Law. By the way, Matt Law, Daily Telegraph football news correspondent, very reliable source. So Maatsen's definitely coming to us. But it's the player on the other way. Now, what happens? Is it going to be Jacob Ramsey? I'm absolutely worried it's Jacob Ramsey going to Chelsea. Don't know why. He fits the bill. Young, versatile, would fit an Enzo system. And Rachel put in there, I think Jacob Ramsey might be the player that we may offload. Now, I hope not, because it doesn't quite make sense either that we would lose someone who's come through our academy and we can sell for a lot of money. But I feel like it could be one of them. Here's another rogue one, though. What about Enzo Barrenchea going to Chelsea? Really rogue. Absolutely out the blue. But I'm thinking of the system that the new Chelsea manager plays. But I think it's got to be a wide man. It's got to be a winger. In a way, give them Moreno or someone like that if we have to. But that is what it's saying, is that obviously Netherlands are going to allow Ian Maatsen to speak to Aston Villa. So that one is done deal, basically. Ian Maatsen to Villa's a done deal. The not so sure part is which Villa players going the other way. Essentially, we will be losing an Aston Villa player to Chelsea. It's a hard one to know. And so, this is why I want to just make sure this is confirmed. But there's a whisper that Moise Kean, by the way, was an option, but now that's been dismissed by Fabrizio Romano. Moise Kean will not be coming to Aston Villa. Absolutely need to quash that one. We are monitoring John Claire Todibo, but I don't want to really talk about that. But we have to make sure that we don't lose the right player. And that is my biggest worry. So I would like to know your thoughts on that. Finally, just to confirm, Ian Maatsen will be coming on a 6-year deal. A 6-year deal, which is quite impressive, I must say, a 6-year deal. And finally, I liked this. This sort of made me smile. And I will come to the comments in a second. This made me smile. The reason why Ian Maatsen accepted Aston Villa was because of Champions League football. You have to now realise the pull of Champions League football and the calibre of players that we're signing. It is absolutely massive. The fact that Ian Maatsen, who played in the Champions League final, yes, he did make a bit of a mistake against Real Madrid, but we'll keep quiet about that. But he played for Dortmund. It's interesting. It's interesting. The Champions League football pool is real, and I think it's going to show in this window what we can do. So love that from Ian Maatsen. Basically, get your Ian Maatsen shirts and songs ready. But let's see what happens. People, keep smashing the like button. As VJ said, it does massively help me out. Thank you. Kevin Jean says, trust me, I know Ramsey ain't going. Personally, I don't think he's going either. It doesn't quite make sense because of the financial money that we would lose from selling a homegrown player. We also need homegrown players with Champions League. But I think it's got to be an attacking player. And that's why Enzo Barrenchea sort of sprung to my head. Duran to Chelsea, I feel like they've got the ick. You know when someone gets the ick? I feel like Chelsea have got the ick with John Duran. I think they're looking at John Duran and going, we ain't fancying you now, mate. We ain't fancying you. So, yeah, I feel like there's something bigger and a smokescreen to that. But yeah, JJ, I agree on that. Bigger aviation trains. We should meet the June the 30th deadline with ease. The Dougie Luiz transfer will definitely help with that. But yeah, we don't want to lose Jacob Ramsey. And I just wonder, it can't be that much of a player if we're getting Ian Maatsen for 35 million. Because what on earth then is Ian Maatsen's transfer value? What are they putting Ian Maatsen's actual transfer value as if we're having to add a player in this deal? But yeah, I don't think Chelsea would benefit from Duran. Big up to VJ as well for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys are enjoying these streams. They're short and they're snappy. We're doing probably 25 to 30 minutes on this. And that's what we're looking at. So we've already covered that Douglas Luiz wants to go to Juve. We've now covered who we're going to get in his place, Enzo Barrenchea. We've now looked at the Ian Maatsen deal. And basically, Ian Maatsen is coming to Villa. It's a massive, massive signing. And I'm really pleased with that. But the big question has to be asked, who's going the other way? Names I'm throwing out there. Of course, Duran is number one. Potentially Moreno, maybe. I could see going the other way. And then Buendia and Ramsey are my four. Can't see it being anywhere else. But I can't see a world, and I'll say this now, could be Diaby. Wow, didn't even think of that one, Stephen. I'm hoping, though, this is going to be a massive season for Musa. But when you look at it, we can't have Luca Di Moreno and Maatsen all at the club. One of those bros needs to go. Of course, Maatsen, he's on a 6-year deal. He isn't going anywhere. He isn't going anywhere. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Right. Yeah, that is very true. How embarrassing would it be for John Duran and his agent if Chelsea actually pie him off? How embarrassing would it be? Because that's where it could get to. Right, final one that caught my eye today. And I thought this was a bit like, okay, this is actually really interesting because this name's come out of the blue. And this is why, chat, this is why I think we are losing a winger. Because I need to show you this, okay? Jacob Tanswell, Aston Villa writer for The Athletic. You've got to appreciate his coverage of Aston Villa for The Athletic, and The Athletic are usually spot on. Now, this story here. The name Lewis Dobbin, you may or may have not heard of him, an Everton player, an Everton winger, someone who's still very young, come through the England youth setups. He has had, or should we say Villa has had, positive talks over this. And here's the article and story. But yeah, you lot are amazing in the chat. But yeah, big up Jacob Tanswell. Big up to everyone in the chat right now. I hope you enjoy these sort of live streams. We're going to be doing them all summer long, baby. Luca Di Moreno, who do you think will leave? I think personally, I thought Luca Di had a better season. I'd rather Moreno go. Moreno defensively, I think, showed his frailties. But I've got a sickening feeling Luca Dean might be the money man. Luca Dean might be the money man. Wow, Mike Cain. That is a curveball. Could it be Cameron Archer going to Chelsea? That's not even one I thought. What do we think to that one, chat? Archer to Chelsea? But here we go. Everton winger Lewis Dobbin. Everton winger Lewis Dobbin has held positive talks over a transfer to Aston Villa. Now, you can see the next comment down here, which I probably do agree with. Defo going back on loan, though. One will probably look to get a good return off in the future. Now, I didn't think of that originally, but that's caught my eye. Are we buying Lewis Dobbin to then loan him out and get a bit of a better product out of him? So, another young comer, another young player under the age of 23. I love what we're doing in terms of our recruitment. Costa Najalkovic, who we signed in January, 18 years old. Morgan Rogers, under 20. Enzo Barrenchea, we get him, 23. Lewis Dobbin, 21. Keep thinking and looking at these players who are of this young age, and all of a sudden, we are cooking. We are cooking. We're looking at players who have got a massive shelf life, who are going to give us full max potential and money if they don't quite or do quite work out, but also give us a lot of years ahead. So, who is Lewis Dobbin? Well, we do have a bit of an older squad as well. I agree on that. So we're trying to get that one down. But Luca Dean, because of his wages, I could see leaving. Yeah, I agree on that. So let's have a look at Lewis Dobbin here. And hopefully you like the sort of layout of how I'm doing these streams with the little articles and stats in them. So first of all, here, Lewis Dobbin, position-wise. Lewis Norman Dobbin. What a name, Norman. Lewis Norman Dobbin. If there's anyone called Norman in the chat, then big up to you. What a name. But yeah, Lewis Norman Dobbin, 21 years old. Okay. And he's an attacking winger. Likes to play out on the left, can play off the right and the second striker. Okay, he's obviously at Everton. His contract expires in next season. And basically, where he's played his football, as you can see on this right-hand side, is he's gone through all the English setup, but not quite the under-21s, it seems. But where he did have a spell, he's been in Everton ranks a lot. He's had a year at Derby County. Okay, so he played for Derby County in the 2022 season. So he's had a full season out on loan. But if you go down to this stats of Lewis Dobbin, this is where it doesn't read too well. Okay. He's had 12 Premier League appearances. He's had a goal. And he's had 227 minutes of Premier League action. 227 minutes. And if you go here in the Premier League, Sean Dyche, he played 7% of the minutes. He's not played much football, is what I'm trying to tell you. If you look at those stats, it's basically telling me we're signing someone who hasn't quite played much football, but we obviously see something in him. We obviously see something in Lewis Dobbin. We like the profile, a young, athletic winger. But my question will be this again. Why are we looking at this left wing position when we've already got Ramsey and Rodgers? Why are we signing Ian Maatsen on the left when we've got Luca Dean and Moreno? Why is that left wing or left side being targeted? What does that mean? Is something that I keep going round and round in my head. What does that mean? And that is something I need people to answer. Are we really interested in that because we want to bulk and strengthen? Or does it genuinely mean one of Moussa Diaby, Jacob Ramsey, I'm not going to say Morgan Rogers because that'd be ridiculous. We'd be off. Or the final thing, as that comment on Twitter said, are we going to be loaning out Lewis Dobbin? Are we going to sign him to then loan him out because we see the full potential? Illing Jr. is also a winger who's coming in part of the Juve deal. So the squad depth's getting better. The squad depth's getting thicker. More people on the bench, more better options for Unai Emery to use instead of just a Zaniolo or Duran, and then thinking Kessler Hayden, Irigbamam, Caden Young, Callum Chambers. It wasn't flashy near the end of the season. So it's hard. But Stephen Bell said Maatsen coming in and Illing Jr. Backing up Dean leaving. So yeah, you guys think that we're losing maybe both Luca Dean and Moreno potentially. Peter Collins says, so with Brighton, I don't like it. I get the balance of young talent versus experience, but I'd like to see a trophy sooner rather than later. That's interesting. Doesn't like the young model build, which I can see is sort of what you're saying. Dobbins, if we're signing him, I think it's got to be a loan. 6 years deal, get him done, improve him loads, sell him loads. That's what Chelsea do, isn't it? And my views on Big Tim going is that it's fine. Hasta la vista. He's never going to be a starter for Aston Villa. He's never really going to be your first choice backup. We need depth. We need squad depth. And for me, Tim doesn't bring that to us. So that is where we're at, chat. It's been a really interesting day of transfers and stories, and we're going to see more tomorrow. Basically, are we going to be sucker punched again that Enzo Barrenchea's off and Weston Mckennie's back on? I think if I'm Weston Mckennie, I'm going to be scared. How the hell is that deal falling through? Tottenham are not in for Weston Mckennie, by the way, before anyone says he's going to Spurs. Tottenham basically said they don't want him. So the Dougie Luiz situation to Juve is what I would say 90% done. What we're waiting for is who's coming our way and if this deal can be agreed. Ian Maatsen, basically for me, I'm going to give that a 95% done. Ian Maatsen will not fall through, but it's again that mysterious Villa player going the other way. Lewis Dobbin, I'm going to give a 25% rating. I think Dobbin's a 25%. That's why I put it on the title as a rumour. Lewis Dobbin rumour. But Jacob Tanswell, very reliable. So we'll see. In terms of Ross Barkley, that is one that I thought would have been announced weeks ago. It just hasn't. Which has also baffled me. But maybe first day of the official transfer window, it probably will. But listen, we'll be back again tomorrow, 10 p.m, with more Aston Villa transfer news, one of these streams. If you don't want to miss it, get your notification bell on, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, because I want to give you the best Villa quick content that is resourced and from good sources, good tiered sources, and for us to quickly discuss it as well. But yeah, Barkley's contract hasn't ended yet. That's it. It'll be from the first, so it's next year's counts. That's very true. Forgot about that. So yeah, basically expect 1st of July Ross Barkley to be announced. Goncalves, I would love Goncalves from Sporting, but I don't know if it's going to happen. If he's as good as our last Dutch left back, impressed. Yeah, true. Big up Curved as well. Yes, on the hype. But if it is Duran to Chelsea, then it's no surprise. If it's not Duran to Chelsea, it's Houston, we have a problem. We don't want Duran knocking around. What I do not want, and I'll say this one last thing, this is probably what I want to end on. I do not want us to go to America with John Duran in our ranks. I don't want him there because he wants to leave. So don't take him to America. Don't let him come on the preseason tour and be disruptive. Get Duran gone before we go to America is all I'm going to say. And if it's not a Chelsea, that's a pie in your face, you big disgrace. Big love to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like if you haven't. 41 likes. Can we hit 50 before we leave? Big up to Julia, to Rachel, to Ryan, to Duper, to Music Junkie, to Curve, to Margaret, to Solly, to Stephen, to Duper, to Aviation, to PC Lockdown, to Krim, to Ryan C, to anyone else who's been listening, Mike Kane, Paul Welford, Marcel, you lot, you're the real ones. Enjoy your evenings. See you tomorrow. Up the England tomorrow, by the way. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 p.m. Don't miss it. Ta-da.